go ahead and say, "Hola, you amazing artist."
No, that's your thing. That's not my thing.
Rafi's Rambles, Rafi's Rambles,
Hi, everybody. It's me, and just me, which is awkward. It's been a really long time since we've done anything on photographing our work or lighting, and a lot's been updated and changed since the last time I did a video on how I photograph my work. And so I wanted to do like a quick run through of how I'm photographing my jewelry right now.
I'm gonna come in so that you're not nervous. I'm gonna sit here.
It's so funny, like, how that happens. When it's just me, I'm like, oh.
Okay, here we are.
Great.
This is not awkward at all.
Not at all. So this is going to be a really quick overview of the basic tools and techniques I'm using to get pictures of my jewelry. Because honestly, I could do a 2-hour class on how...
2-hour tour.
You can't sing that.
Oh.
I could do a 2-hour class on how I photograph and edit my jewelry with various different things and props. And I might do that, actually.
Yeah. We have a Rogue community site where we do classes now.
Yeah, so I may do that. So I just wanted to give a brief update video on what I'm doing now. So here it is. Hello, welcome to my photo setup.
Oh, it's a perfect day too, because
Yeah.
we've got all this sunlight coming in through here.
This is the primary space that I use for my photography because it has the best natural lighting in the entire house. So honestly, I'm going to show you guys this, but to be perfectly real with you, I do a lot of photography just here on this tabletop with the sun coming through the window. And I also utilize the top of our dryer sometimes because it gets good lighting.
Yeah.
But when I need a photo light box, I just bought this light box. I have another one downstairs that I'll show you, but this is a new one. And I like the features that you have as far as lighting control. This is the Glendon 24-inch photo box. It's got an LED ring up here. You power it on and it has, you know, brightness adjustment. It's a nice controlled light and it's a nice balanced light color, like it leans cool, but really you don't want like overly warm tones in jewelry. So we'll just snap a picture like that. And also I invested in this light pad, in case you need to light something from underneath, right? It's not quite getting the overhead light that you need. And this actually has a bit of a warmer tone, so it kind of helps balance things out.
Is the light pad from the same company?
You know, I actually think it is. If I remember correctly, this was actually a bundle thing.
Okay.
So if I can, I'll share the link and we can drop it in the description. So let's say you just need a little bit of light from underneath there. By the way, I do 100% of my photography with my phone. Like, it's just the easy way to do it. And like that. Now that, it doesn't seem like makes a huge difference, right? Because it's a silver band. But let's say you have something like this earring. And you really want to showcase its luminous properties. That looks vastly different. So I'm actually still playing around with that light pad, the bottom light pad, because it's brand new. If you end up getting one of those, you could actually position it in a lot of different ways. I think my next experiment would be positioning it on the side rather than the bottom.
Right.
So things aren't lit from underneath, but they almost appear naturally lit from the side.
I think that that's what's important when you're taking any kind of photography, even when you're taking pictures of like artwork, sculptures, paintings, jewelry, whatever it is to play around with lighting, because really that's the essential part of taking pictures of your creations is the lighting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the most important part, and each piece is going to present its own set of challenges. So really, even if you have the fundamentals down, you're still probably going to have to experiment and see what backdrop colors, what lighting scenarios, and all that works best for your particular piece.
Yeah, and there's going to be situations where you're like, this sucks!
Yeah, I have had pieces that admittedly I've had to take dozens and dozens and dozens of photos just to get the good angles.
The good one.
Yeah.
Gotta get the good one!
Now, depending on what your stone or whatever you're trying to capture and how it deals with light, like every time I have to come in here and just play around with the light settings until I find the magic combination. One thing I'm troubleshooting with this is that basically the light source in this is an LED ring up here. And non-flicker LED really is the next best thing, in my opinion, to natural sunlight. But it has a diffuser cloth here, and the diffuser cloth isn't quite thick enough. So when I'm photographing highly reflective things like a smooth cabochon surface, you can see the LED light ring. So I may end up just getting some fabric. Vellum would probably work too. Yeah, so it does a pretty good job, but I'm just trying to get the least amount of glare with the most light play, which is really tricky for some stuff, paintings or jewelry. When I model my jewelry, almost 100% of the time, I'm going out here on a day that's slightly overcast so I can have diffused sunlight, because honestly, nothing's better for capturing the life of a jewelry piece. I used to take some of my pictures from inside the canopy on show days or market days because the lighting was just right. So if you guys want to come with me, I will show you my other photo light box and how I used to use that and what that's good for. Okay, so this is my original photo light box, and yes, it is sentient. I put googly eyes on it. It looks pretty concerned most of the time. This one, unlike the other one has completely opaque walls on it, right? So it relies 100% on its internal lighting. This one is sheer on all sides. So actually, what I should do is have this one that's sheer in an environment where natural light can come through, and I should have the opaque one in an environment like this where it's fully controlled lighting. Have them backwards. I'm probably gonna switch them around, but for now I'll show you this one. This one, I have 4 external LED lights that point at it if I need them, or I can take this guy outside because it's like a mini tent. And there's a little fruit fly in there. I haven't looked in there in a while. But even with no direct lighting pointed at it, it does a pretty good job of diffusing whatever light, and so we can share these pictures. There's never, ever, ever an instance where I don't have to edit these pictures. So we'll share what we use for editing as well. But yeah, this is my original guy, and it's a great light diffuser. It has no built-in lights, so like I said, I have external lights for it if I need them, but a lot of times I don't need them. But while we're out here chilly demonstrating our techniques, I thought I'd show you the super fancy way that I photograph jewelry on a model, which is me always, or it's Rafi, but it's not very high tech. It does take some positioning, but if you get it just right, you can get a really good shot. Let me move this right. So I'm always looking for a background that's not super distracting, that's pretty neutral, so I tend to go for here. This area is really good because at most times of the day, the sun is overhead and slightly to one side or the other. And because we have this pavilion above us, it's never directly coming down on you, which is never something you want. It's not flattering, and it doesn't show off the artwork or the jewelry. You want this kind of diffused situation, and you could use a tent if you had to. I'm gonna put my camera in selfie mode, and I'm gonna demonstrate on these earrings that I'm wearing, which are one of my designs anyway. This is a little tricky because you could do this with a tripod, but oftentimes when I'm in a hurry, I'm just holding it out here like this. You're in selfie mode so you can see. And for these earrings, right, I don't want them super reflecting light back into the camera, but I do want them catching the light. So I'm just kind of moving left to right to see where they pick up the most flattering lighting for the earring. And then when I think I have a pretty good shot, I'm gonna look straight ahead, right? Because I don't wanna be looking at the camera. And I'm gonna tap the button with my thumb. You are gonna get camera shake doing this, okay? And I can show you here, but I'll show you the finished product. I'm gonna crop this out. You won't be able to tell that I was holding the camera. I do the same thing for necklaces, just like a slightly different vantage point. And you're just holding your breath and tapping that button with your thumb. And you get pretty proficient after a little bit of doing that. You could do the same thing though, set up a tripod here, keep your arm kind of right here where you can get to the button, and doop, and you've got your picture. So you'll see the edited version of this also. So we've got the image here. With jewelry, the rule of thumb is you really kind of want to do the least amount of editing possible. You don't want to over edit your jewelry pictures because you want them to look, you know, as true to life as you can. So I'm going to crop any weird borders out of here. There is a little bit of a weird lighting scenario, mostly because I snapped it really quick. So I'm going to go into curves and I'm going to tap the brighten and hit select, and I'm actually going to brighten that a little more so you can see a little more of the definition and the texture. And I'm going to go into white balance, right? The temperature is a little warm because of being lit from below. So I'm going to do something like that. I'm going to go into tint and slide that until it... Okay, so the camera died there, but essentially the basic thing with editing is that I'm trying to get the edited picture as close to real life as possible by making minor adjustments. Oftentimes I have the piece of jewelry sitting right next to me as I'm editing so I can tell, is it looking like it really looks? If you have a device that has True Tone or color balance stuff on your home screen, I turn that off because you don't want the device changing the color temperature based on which environment you're editing in. The other thing that I do in photo editing, which I didn't get a chance to show, is I go into the, it'll be called the healing brush or the blemish tool or whatever app you're using, and just remove any dust or debris or scratches or anything that you might have on your
nose hairs. Like when you have a really long nose hair.
Yeah, anything that might be distracting that takes away from the focus of the piece, you want to just kind of edit that stuff out. So on average, I have between 8 and 10 pictures of a piece, and I'm trying to capture at least 5 different angles of the jewelry. One full perspective shot, one detailed shot, one shot of it modeled so that you can gauge the size and how it's actually gonna wear. If there's any convex or concave or 3-dimensional shapes in the jewelry, you wanna position yourself at an angle where it's showing that off so it's not just a flat image. And then usually the rest of the photos are just extra detail photos to show off anything special about the work. You know, you wanna take the least amount of photos possible so you don't give yourself 100 photos to sort through, but at the same time, sometimes things are tricky.
And that's it.
That's the basics. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. And like I said, I might actually do a full-length class on how I do this.
That would be cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And obviously we adore you and still are not sure how to end videos. So subscribe.
And good day.
Adios.